Okay, in today's lesson, we're going to actually look at using the distance formula. So in our previous investigation, we actually derived the distance formula. And so today our learning target is I can determine the length or distance of a line segment using the distance formula. All right, so let's review. What does the distance formula say? It's d squared equals change in x squared plus change in y squared. Okay, so let's review real quick. We know that we know change in x would be x1 minus x2 squared, and change in y would be y1 minus y2 squared. All right, so if we recall back from our investigation, we know that we can find the distance of our line segment if we simply form a right triangle. All right, so we know that this one right here, the change in x is 3, and our change in y is 6. All right, so let's go ahead and get in the habit of writing our distance formula until we know it. It's d squared equals change in x plus change in y squared. All right, so change in x would be 3 squared plus 6 squared. All right, so then we have would be 9 plus 36. D squared equals 45. All right, so we're going to take the square root of both sides, and then we're left with D equals the square root of 45. We know that to simplify this into radical form, we find the largest perfect square, which happens to be 9. We separate it. We know the square root of 9 is 3, so our answer is 3 square roots of 5. All right. What do we do when we don't have a graph where we're given the points? Well, we're still going to start out by writing our distance formula, which would be d squared equals change in x squared plus change in y squared. All right, so if we go to substituting all this into the formula, it can get a bit convoluted. So what I do is I like to break it down into little pieces. So the first thing I do is change in x. All right, so change in x would be my x values. So that would be negative 4 minus 3, which would give me negative 7. All right, so we're dealing with length and distance, and we know that length and distance can never be negative. So I want to change this to a positive 7. And how will I do that? I will do that by taking the absolute value. And the absolute value is the distance from 0. And when you take the absolute value of a number, it's always positive. So that now I have a 7. All right, so let's take a look at the change in y. All right, so I got change in y equals, 1 and negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to do 1 minus negative 1. All right, so we know a negative and a negative becomes addition. So that would be 1 plus 1, which gives me 2. All right, so I got 2 positive numbers, so I'm happy. So I'm going to go over here and substitute into my formula. Let's go ahead and get this. Let me go ahead and get my color coding going. All right, so d squared equals 7 squared plus 2 squared. Okay, go back over here. You know, I like to color code everything. I just feel like it helps. All right, so that everybody knows where I got everything. Okay, so now I have D squared equals 49 plus 4. D squared equals 53. All right, so I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And I'll just go ahead and tell you that D equals the square root of 53. That cannot be simplified, so you would just leave it like that. All right, now what I'm going to show you next over here on the side is that you can use InSolve. So you're just going to go, menu 3-1, you're going to get your InSolve. All right, so what you would put into your computer is you would put D squared equals 7 squared plus 2 squared, and then you put comma D, close your parentheses, you're going to hit enter, and you're going to get that D equals 7.3. Remember to round to the nearest 10. All right, so I'm going to leave the third one for you. You can either do it by hand yourself, or you can use InSolve. And when you get done with your Wayground, you'll have an assignment in Schoology. All right, see you the next video.